The Boffins. They awoke to a huge bump, followed by bouncing and shuddering, windshield wipers squeaking across spotless glass as the car hurtled down a snowy hill. The vehicle bucked as pine saplings disappeared under the end of the hood, and after clipping a giant stump, smashing through a fence, and crashing through a leaning wooden shed, they limped to the bottom of the incline, grinding to a halt 50 feet from a small community of geodesic dome houses. "I think we hit something," Grandma Betsy said. "Just figured that out?" Theodore asked. "Back a ways," Grandma Betsy said, "at the top of the hill." And sure enough, through the rearview mirror, behind the splintered remains of the shed and the fence and the stump, boots stuck up from the white drifts. Boots that filled Theodore with a sinking feeling. "I think you're going to jail," Theodore said. Almost immediately, people poured from the dome houses, no doubt alerted by the commotion, and Grandma Betsy waved as she opened the car door. "I have insurance," she said. "It was an accident." Theodore got out expecting everyone to record them with cell phones and call the police and run to the boots that peeked from the snow and start screaming or at least ask what had happened. But nothing like this happened at all. Everybody cheered. Mothers hugged fathers and children, and old men with long beards. Elderly women did jazz hands. A bald gentleman raised his arms in the air and then fell back in the powder, kicking up his legs. Gleeful bellows gave way to tears, and as the crowd approached the car, several things became clear. Firstly, the people from the geodesic dome houses were all very short, and for some reason they wore matching grayish bodysuits and shiny chrome wrist bracers. Secondly, they all had blue-tinted skin and oversized ears and eyes that shimmered and ears that bounced as they approached the stationary Chevy Celebrity. Lastly, and this stuck with Theodore in the years to come, everyone was quite skinny, worryingly so, standing with skeletal cheekbones and thin legs, their uniforms hanging off them like clothes on hangers at a box store. Everyone huddled together and triumphant, like the survivors of an Arctic plane crash greeting a rescue convoy. "What's going on?" Theodore asked. He turned to Grandma Betsy, who had a confused look on her face and shook her head as a man with white hair and a bushy mustache stepped from the throng. At first, when the man opened his mouth, musical tones escaped, highs and lows with intense vibrato, but after his song went unanswered, he motioned for everyone to quiet down before saying in a high-pitched voice, "You've done a service to my kin. Our land is stark and cold and dim. My name is Zeb. I give you thanks. What brings you to these snowy banks?" As Zeb waved his hand in front of the car's headlights, Theodore and Grandma Betsy exchanged glances. Her white eyebrows raised above the rims of her glasses, while Theodore's disbelief took the form of an open mouth, framed by flushed cheeks, while the wind ruffled his short, black hair. "We've run off the road," Grandma Betsy said. "The blizzard came up so suddenly." "Where are we?" Theodore asked. Tapping the car's bumper with his palm, Zeb cocked his head and looked up at the visitors, speaking with giddiness. "By happenstance," he said, "by fortune's drum, you've landed in the land of In bondage have we Boffins toiled, maintaining fringe lands long despoiled. Our despot, Governor Eyebright, has made us work both day and night, and with your metal chariot you felled a proper idiot." As Zeb spoke, his people, the Boffins, were already walking up the hill, past the exploded shed and the hole in the fence, past the rotten stump, everyone following the tire tracks to the boots that stuck up from the drifts. And Theodore tagged along, curious in a way he had not been before, as his only previous exposures to crime scenes came from the dramas his parents watched after dinner when he sat on his knees and did his homework on the living room coffee table. "People aren't usually happy when somebody gets hit by a car," he called to his grandmother. "Theodore," Grandma Betsy said, "get away from there." But even as she spoke, she knew he would see for himself what had been left in their wake. And as the Boffins sang to one another, Theodore nudged the boot heel that poked from a pants leg obscured beneath chunks of compacted snow. "Found him," he called. Zeb and Grandma Betsy followed close behind, and as Theodore pushed the boot, it tipped over, spilling ash that caught with the wind and blew away. Boffins picked up the leather duster and the pants and shook out the soot, such that the imprint of the fallen man was quickly reduced to a shadowy impression in a blanket of white. "Where's the body?" Grandma Betsy said. "What on earth is going on?" Zeb nodded to the boots, and a Boffin girl picked them up. Gray clouds poured out in great plumes, and the girl knocked the heels on her knees before handing them to Theodore. Zeb turned to them and said, "'Twas ancient evil kept alive by passions only negative. The flesh has long since turned to dust. Your fatal blow was fair and just. These footwear relics both are lined with charms beyond the normal kind. Please take the boots, I do entreat. Come join us now, we want to eat." And with this, Zeb led everyone back to the warmth of the geodesic dome houses and the bubbling pots of soup. For although the Boffins had been forced to live for years on meager rations, they were not about to deprive their new guests of a meal.